guys, this is Vincent, and I'm here today to review the anime movie A Silent Voice, or Kono Katachi, in its original Japanese title. I'm sorry if my pronunciation is a little inaccurate since I've barely learned any Japanese, but anyway, let's get started. A Silent Voice follows a teenager named Shoya Ishida, who isolates himself and lives his life with a sense of guilt and regret after he gets framed for bullying a deaf girl in his class named Shoko Nishimiya. Years later, he encounters Shoko again, and he decides to go on a path to redemption by rebuilding his relationship with her. It's no secret that I'm a giant fan of anime, particularly the works of Kyoto Animation. I will be referring to Kyoto Animation as KyoAni from now on. Haruhi Suzumiya was my first official anime that was a great introduction into this amazing art form, and it still remains one of my favorite anime of all time. Clannad and its second season, Clannad After Story, were both, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, tearjerker anime ever made that had me constantly in tears, and is another of KyoAni's masterpieces. I also found Kanon, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, K-On!, and Nichijou to be solid titles that either had me tearing up or grinning in joy. And even some of their weaker efforts, such as Love, Chanyobyo, and Other Delusions, or Lucky Star, were still good anime that had a lot going for it. Okay, maybe not Chanyobyo Season 2, but that one still had its moments. So needless to say, as a huge KyoAni fan, I was really excited to see A Silent Voice for myself. However, I also had my skepticisms towards this movie at first, mainly because it was made by the same writer and director of K-On! Although K-On! Was a fluffy and cute series that I loved, as you could see from all those DVDs that I own, I wasn't really sure if the same team behind that could pull off such a serious subject matter. I was worried that the film would either end up as overly comedic or too melodramatic. I hope that it could find a good balance between the two tones and not have one tone overshadowing the other. Fortunately, director Naoko Yamada and writer Riko Yoshida delivered once again. Not only is A Silent Voice, in my opinion, by far the best project they've ever done, but when compared to other works by Kyoto Animation, I do believe that it ranks up there as one of the studio's best works. The first thing that comes to my mind when talking about the positives of A Silent Voice was its excellent ensemble cast of characters who were for the most part likable, interesting, and had relevance to the plot. And although some were better developed than others, I could not deny that all of them were memorable in their own ways, and all the seiyus did a fantastic job at bringing their characters to life. If you don't know what seiyu is, it's the Japanese word for voice actor or voice actress. Let's first talk about the male lead, Shoya. I'm not going to lie, like many others, I didn't like this character and thought this guy was a complete jerk at first. But throughout the process of the story, we get a better understanding himself as a person, and then we slowly begin to empathize with him as he tries to redeem himself from his past mistakes, and by the end of the film, I ended up really liking him. That is what I call good character development. And as for the performance by the always talented Maru Ino, you can bet your ass that it's excellent. Next up, we have our female protagonist, Shoko. Although she isn't necessarily as deep or complex as Shoya, she is nevertheless a likable character who is just so optimistic and innocent that you just couldn't help but smile along with her. And she does have some pretty good dramatic moments by the end of the film. Also, I had my skepticisms towards her character initially, since she was voiced by Sayori Hayami, who I remember most as... yeah, unpopular opinion, but I'm not a fan of her character. I hate her more than Kirino. I wasn't really sure if she could pull off such a serious role of a deaf girl. But thankfully, she proved me wrong and turned in her best performance to date. She put 110% into her performance, making her portrayal both accurate and respectful for those with impaired hearing, while also bringing plenty of layers and likability to her character. And although I absolutely loved the two leads, there was one character in this film that I loved even more than those two, and that is Shoko's tomboyish younger sister, Yuzuru. Talk about a side character who completely steals the show and overshadows the already interesting two protagonists. The two leads already made A Silent Voice a great film already, but Yuzuru completely pushed my enjoyment for this film over the top. Just by the first line of dialogue she uttered alone, I knew this girl was going to be a delight to watch. But Yuzuru wasn't just an entertaining character that only served for comic relief. She also had plenty of depth to her and really helped bridge the gap between Shoya and Shoko. And what blows my mind even more is the fact that such a tomboyish character was voiced by Aoi Yuki, the cutesy seiyuu behind Madoka Kaname. You've got a wide range of talent, miss. You're awesome. Apart from those three I previously mentioned, I also really liked Tomohiro, Miyoko, as well as Shoya's mother. And although I wasn't really fond of Ueno's character as a whole, I could still understand where she's coming from. But I'm not going to deny that I hate kawaii with a steaming passion. What a bitch. The animation, although isn't the absolute best KyoAni has to offer, is solid and works well for what it needs. It may not have the flashy visuals you see in their other projects like Haruhi Suzumiya, but the bright colors and the gentle atmosphere still gives this film a warm, welcoming feel to it. As expected in every KyoAni project, the backgrounds are rich in details, filled with vibrant colors that are pleasant to look at. If you've seen any of director Naoko Yamada's previous work, such as K-On! Or Tamako Market, which I haven't seen, but I plan to soon, you may notice her signature scene composition style scattered throughout them. And did A Silent Voice have those? You bet! Now that I think back at K-On!, Yamada excels at expressing the character's feelings through small hand gestures and delicate character movements, particularly her tendency to focus on the character's feet movements to show their emotions. So getting her to handle a film that deals heavily with body language was a smart choice. Each frame of animation was carefully planned out and felt natural and lifelike. Added with her cinematic style camera angles, it added a more intimate and personal feel to the film. But it would be pointless if this film succeeds in all those technical and character aspects without having a compelling story to support it. And did a silent voice have one? Definitely! Riko Yoshida's script for this film was gracefully executed as it handled the serious subject matter with a perfect balance between the emotional drama and surprisingly effective humor. I'm also glad that director Naoko Yamada didn't forget her comedy roots from directing K-On! And added plenty of natural jokes that flowed well with the film. Miss Yamada, you caught my attention with K-On!, but with a silent voice, you've sold me now, and I can't wait for your next project. In terms of the flaws I had with a silent voice, I don't really have any major cons that detracted me from my enjoyment of this film. Sure, there were a few minor characters and storylines that could have been developed a little better, but those are just tiny nitpicks that didn't really matter for me. I can only come up with one real problem that has nothing to do with the film itself. As someone who has been following Kyoto Animation's previous works for quite some time, I have to say that I do prefer Clannad After Story and the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya a tad bit more over this. That's it. So overall, as you can tell, I absolutely adored A Silent Voice. This film adds yet another strong addition to KyoAni's already impressive resume, and as a loyal fan of theirs, I'm proud to say that not only did this film exceed my high expectations and is up there with Haruhi Suzumiya and Clannad as one of their best works, but it has also dethroned Logan as my favorite movie of 2017 thus far. We'll see if other films like Dunkirk or Star Wars The Last Jedi will top this, but as I'm standing right now, no other film from 2017 moved me more than A Silent Voice, and it definitely deserves a 10 out of 10. It is an absolute masterpiece, and I can't wait to buy this film on DVD and watch it again. If you love good movies, please support this film by checking it out if you can. If you're a fan of anime, especially Kyoto Animation's works, then you have absolutely no reason not to see this. Comment down and let me know below what you guys thought of A Silent Voice. Also, what is your favorite KyoAni project you've seen so far? This is Vincent, and I'll be back with my next review.